Hey everybody, how you doing? EDGYTIM. Appreciate you stopping by and being an Edgy Nation subscriber. Definitely appreciate that. And as I mentioned before the last video, I had quite a few notes that I'm trying to put out every year when we get to this time of year when the camp season begins. What is camp season? Well, camp season is a combination of the shoe camps, and that whole landscape has changed considerably. The Nike camp was here. Fortunately for us, they were here during the pandemic, so that camp will not be around this summer. I know that they did an Elite 11 not too long ago in Indianapolis, I believe. And that's as close that they were going to get here this spring. So that group is done. As far as I know, Under Armour has one in St. Louis. I want to say the 15th of May. The Rivals camp is this coming Sunday down in Indianapolis. And again, the Rivals camp is invite only. The Under Armour camp is invite only. So still very important camps. If you're able to get an invitation to those, I highly suggest you take place in both. But there's some tips to those camps that we'll get into as well that maybe you might want to consider and maybe implement them into your camp routine that might help you stand out and at least get noticed a little bit. Talk about that in a few minutes, and then probably more of a focus on the college camp circuit, which, as if you're not aware of it, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're vested in the camp circuit, but the NCAA finally did drop the dead recruiting period, which ends May 31st, and the open period will resume on June 1st. So colleges are allowed to host camps and to travel and to go to camps. So that has suddenly put a huge charge into what was shaping up to be a very bummer of a summer. Didn't mean to rhyme that, just worked out that way. So again, we are full boat, full steam ahead for summer camp season, which is great. It's great for kids, and go watch my previous video about the recruiting process, and you'll understand why it's such an important period, especially for the state of Illinois prospects 2022 and younger. It's a very limited window. It's about a 30-day camp window. Extends out a little bit depending upon, I know FCS and below are allowed to have camps in July. Actually, some FBS are allowed to do July as well, but they have very limited window and limited amount of contact days they can do things. So it's a shortened window, and we haven't even discussed your high school team and what they do in camps because, well, we still don't know. Thank you, IHSA, for the ever guiding light and guidance that you provide us. And I'm starting to get real frustrated with that if you can't tell, but we'll tackle that in another day. So again, focusing on the college camps and the one-day camps and just tips. And I get asked a ton of questions. I've been covering the camp circuit for well over 20 years, probably going closer to 30. So I've seen it all. I've been everywhere. I've gone to camps all over the country. It's kind of where I learned a lot of tips and insights and just valuable learning aspects from those college camps. Is back in the day, look at the quote unquote Nike Elite 11 camps, for example. In the very early days, college coaches were allowed to go to those camps, and it was glorious. I mean, you would go to a Nike camp at Ohio State, and you would have literally every Big Ten school, every MAC, every Power Five was represented, and I got to make a lot of friends that way and got to know a lot of coaches and worked with them, and they worked with me and what to look for and how to evaluate and how to look for different things depending upon certain positions and what to look for and what to avoid. Learned a ton, and I'm still friends, fortunately, with many of those same coaches today. And it's amazing how many of them started as assistants and kind of lower tier assistants, and a lot of those same guys are head coaches now. So it's been a wild transformation, but again, probably one of the most valuable times of my quote unquote career covering and evaluating was because of that camp circuit. So obviously I have very fond memories, and it's been very, very good to me. So again, so let's get into it. So here are some things I think that kids, parents need to understand. First of all, I get asked all the time, well, how many camps should you go to? Every year there are kids that, and there's one kid in particular this year in the 2022 class that is tweeting out every camp invite he gets. And that's great. If you want to do it, it's great. Number one, don't expect me to retweet every one of your camp invites, because I'm not going to do it. And as this goes on, I'm becoming more and more less inclined to retweet things unless they're direct offers when it regards or video. And even the video is starting to get to the point where it's almost getting out of hand. I'll dig into that next week. We're going to talk about Twitter and some things to do and some things to avoid, and to make sure that what you're putting out is the most effective and impactful for you. Some kids don't tweet anything. Some kids tweet everything. And then there's definitely got to be a happy medium there. We'll get into that next week. My rule of thumb for how many camps has always been, first of all, which schools are truly showing you interest. And what I mean by interest is, before this COVID screwed up recruiting period, college coaches would be allowed to go into high schools. They would be allowed to make 2 separate visits during the recruiting period. One is a grade period where they can actually pull and request a transcript on you. The second would be a quote unquote evaluation stop visit. So that obviously has not happened. So that's taken a big part of the process out. But I would look at schools that are truly recruiting you, meaning it's more than just a DM and it's more than just a graphic. It's coaches that have actually communicated with you and you've communicated with them. I would consider camping at schools that have actually talked to you and said, we would like you to camp with us this summer. That's a huge, I think that's a huge factor. You want to go somewhere that they know who you are and they at least want to see you in person. And so again, you need to kind of make that determination. Do you have a dream school? Has it been your dream school to run out of the tunnel at Notre Dame or play for Michigan, or maybe down south of Florida State? You know what? If you have a dream school, and I don't care how old you are in this, if you have a dream school and it's something you've always wanted to do, go camp there. But keep it to one dream school. Don't keep it to 7 dream schools. And that's, I think, what the problem kids run into. So we mentioned about the limited amount of time that you have to camp. One of the big things, and again, as far as a number of how many camps, and this kind of ties into it, you got to be really careful because, again, every camp is different. Every set's up camp. Some are fully padded, full contact. Some camps never end. It seems like they go on all day. There are college camps. They'll have a morning session. You'll be able to take a lunch break, eat lunch, go back out for another 2-3 hours, and bang in the afternoon. Others are no pads, strictly t-shirts, shorts, workout, testing, some agility drill, bada boom, bada bing, some various one-on-ones and no pads, and you're done. And again, there's no rhyme or reason. Everyone just does their camps differently. Some of it is based on state rules where certain colleges, or a conference rule where they're allowed to do certain things and not do other things in a camp. Just every school is different. So rule of thumb for me, number one, is be prepared for anything. Because again, every camp experience is going to be different. Every camp is going to do things differently. Every coach at your position is going to teach you differently at one camp to another. And there's rhymes and there's reasonings behind that. We'll get into it. Coaches want to see how quickly you pick things up. So you might be used to doing a certain drill one way, or especially the linemen, as far as a pass pro set, various technique. Those college coaches are going to teach you their technique and the way that they do things. And in most cases, they fully expect it to be totally different from what you've done with your high school team. They want to see how quickly you can adapt and learn and adjust on the fly. It's a big part of the evaluation process that I think a lot of kids don't even realize how important it is. So you've got to be open-minded. You have to be willing to learn and adjust quickly. And it's okay if you screw up a little bit. And that's another thing we'll get into. If you mess up a drill, if you are running agility, something in agility, and you fall or you slip, or in timing in particular, if you're doing a 5-10-5 shuttle and you slip, body language is everything. And it goes for whether it's testing, whether it goes for one-on-ones, whether anything you do at that camp, you have to hustle. You have to give it full effort. You cannot walk from drill to drill. You jog and run from drill to drill. You hustle constantly at those camps. You are being watched the moment you step foot on campus until the moment you leave that camp. And that's very important to remember, because you are being evaluated. You're being evaluated on your athletic ability. You're being tested to see athletically what you can do, how fast you are, how much of an athlete you are. You are being tested on your position, what you actually can do skill-wise in your specific position group. You are being evaluated on your approach, your mentality, your toughness. You're willing to compete, and your motivation level and how pumped you are. It's all looked at. It's all taken into consideration. So again, rule number one, you are always being watched, always, and you need to take that approach. Big rule that I always tell kids and parents: you cannot do back-to-back camps, meaning you can't go to Illinois on Monday, Purdue on Tuesday, Ohio State on Wednesday, Tennessee on Thursday. By the time you get, I'll say, and again, it depends a little bit on position, but I'm going to say by the time you get halfway through that second camp on the back-to-back day, you're toast. Your legs will be dead. You will not test as well. You will not perform as well. And then you compound the issue when you go to that third camp in a row. And then you're just no good. You want to be at your peak physically, and you also want to have enough time and rest in between to where you can get back to that peak faster and sooner rather than later. I've seen, and I'll tell you right now, there are kids, I can probably go through every camp season where I have seen kids, the same kids at every single camp. Now, I go to a lot of camps. I didn't even keep track of how many I did last year. I was at least roughly, and again, this is in a 2, 3, 4 week period. I was easily near a dozen camps, and we're talking all over. Really, I try to cover all the state of Illinois, and then I will do some out-of-state camps depending. I mean, the Rivals camps are usually all over the place, so I'll do those. Under Armour, I've done some camps outside of the state of Illinois. I've gone to Ohio for camps and whatever. So I get around. So, and just traveling from camp to camp is time-consuming. But I can point at every year since I've been doing this, and I can point to specific kids that have done all the camps I've covered. And that's a lot. And a lot of those, as I mentioned, are right on top of each other. Now, yeah, that sucks that they're all clumped together. But again, that's kind of done for a couple of different reasons. Number one, just from the timing standpoint, colleges are allowed just a certain amount of days that they can do things, and everyone has the same kind of restrictions and calendar. So it's bound to happen. Number two, these colleges want to see if you're truly interested in them. If you're truly interested in them, you will camp with them over another school. So it kind of helps them get an idea who truly is interested and who isn't interested in them. So that's something to also remember. So when we talk about being prepared for anything, so here's what I'm talking about. We already talked about the different types of camps: fully padded, no pads, real heavy hitting, big time physicality in camps, and some you're just doing drill work. So be prepared for anything. That includes bring plenty of drink, and especially now in this whole COVID era, I don't think these schools are going to provide anything for you. So except obviously like a camp shirt or something. You got to bring your own drink. whether I would bring water, I would bring Gatorade, I would bring plenty of it, no matter what it is. Also bring some food. Now, I'm not talking like big, heavy food, but some type of snack thing you can throw in a bag, on an energy bar, whatever you want to call it. Fruit, whatever, but have something, because as I mentioned, you don't know how long these camps are going to go. You're going to get up probably very early in the morning, make your parents drive you to the camp. You're nervous. You're probably not going to eat anything. So again, you've got to be able to kind of reload and load back up and to keep your energy level going during the camp. So if you've got something, you can get a quick bite of something to at least help you go along. Most camps will give you a break. They'll give you a 10, 15-minute break at least. Slam down some hydration and some water and chew on an energy bar or fruit like a banana, something. Got to have something in your system. And I see so many times where kids just forget this stuff, and especially the water stuff. And as I mentioned with COVID, everything's different now. So you got to check the camps. I'm sure the camps on their websites will have all types of restrictions and what's allowed and what's not allowed. But the point being, you got to be for everything. So bring that. One thing that drives me nuts, and I talk about this all the time, do not bring or use brand new cleats at a camp. Okay. Let me emphasize that. Do not bring or use brand new cleats at a camp. Why? Because number one, you have to break in cleats. Everybody knows that. You just cannot throw a brand new pair of cleats on your feet and go, let's go. Now, under one, a knock, that's fine. As you can tell, I certainly support Under Armour. But the one thing I don't like about their camps, and I don't know if they're still doing this or not, I will find out this year. Again, obviously, because COVID has been a couple of years since I've been in an Under Armour camp. Under Armour provides great gear for their campers. Shorts, gloves, shirt. They also, for a while, and I believe they still are, providing cleats. And their rule of thumb, now this is what it used to be. The rule of thumb was, if you're at our camp, you've got to be in Under Armour cleats. Okay, that's fine. You need to know that going in, number one. So if you don't have Under Armour cleats, odds are you're not going to be able to work out. You're going to have to work out in the brand new ones they give you at the camp. That I don't like at all. I hope it's changed. I don't know if it actually has been changed or not, but we'll see. So again, if you have Under Armour cleats from a previous camp and they're broken in and they're new, by all means, I would bring them. But regardless, if it's the Under Armour camp or any other camp, do not use brand new cleats. Do not bring brand new cleats to a camp. If you're going to do it, you better go out and get a couple of workouts in and go out in the grass and run around for a half hour. Make sure you break those bad boys in. Otherwise, your feet are going to be on fire, and that's not good. And I've seen kids end up getting really bad blisters and welts on their feet and end up missing quite a bit of camps because they blew out their feet in new cleats during a camp. So it's really important. I mentioned when the eyes are always on you. People are always watching you when they're evaluating you. That goes for the parents as well. So what I will tell you is, if you want to make a really bad impression as a kid and a parent, when you walk up to the camp, your mom's with you, your mom's carrying your pads, your mom's carrying your lunch, your whole family's carrying all your stuff, and you just walk in like a rock star. Negative impression number one right there. Carry your own gear. I highly suggest, and I know parents are going to laugh at this, but I'm telling you right now, parents, get your kid to the camp, drop them off, tell them, I'll be up if you're going to be up in the stands watching, that's fine. If you need me, let me know. Otherwise, I'll meet you here after the camp. That's it. This is college, and I'm a parent. I had two kids that have graduated college. They've gone through it. It's going to be very hard for you parents to cut loose, to cut that umbilical cord with your son. This is a good way to practice at the college one-day camps. The colleges don't want helicopter parents. They don't want parents coming down and handing their kids waters and lunches, and they expect these kids to be responsible and to handle their own business. So again, parents, as tempting as it is, and maybe you've been doing this the kid's whole life, it's time for them to start growing up and taking responsibility. Do not walk up carrying all their stuff. Let your young man handle his business and carry his gear. And just don't be hovering, parents. Just don't. Let them be responsible, them handle their business before, during, and after the camp. You got plenty of time in the car to talk about the camp, what you did well, what you didn't do well. Parents, stop coaching your kids. It's not going to help, especially in a college one-day camp. Your kids are going to do something wrong. They're going to screw something up. It's okay. It's okay. All you can do is sit back and let them do hopefully what they do. So again, it's very important to make that impression, players, prospects. You need to introduce yourself to whoever that position coach is. I would introduce myself to as many coaches as you see at camp. It doesn't have to be anything major, formal, no speech. Just walk up, extend your hand and say, "Hey, coach, I'm blah, blah, blah from high school. Nice to meet you." They'll remember that. Trust me, they will remember a kid that comes out, introduces themselves. You could do that. I would suggest before the camp, but definitely after the camp. That impression way with college is that you're serious about the camp, you're serious about playing in college, and you want to make sure you're making a good impression. And by doing that simple little thing, you're making a good impression. Trust me, I talk to college coaches all the time. And one thing that they talk about that's pretty consistent is communication skills seem to continue to deteriorate. We can get into the whole texting and phones and why that's happened, but you've got to be able to talk and introduce yourself and look people in the eye and be able to really show that you can communicate. And you do that, believe me, it makes a positive impression. Do not big time coach other schools. You just can't. You need to be open to everyone. So if it's a D3, if it's an NAIA, if they're interested in you, then by all means you are interested in them. Because here's the deal. Number one, you don't know for how long that coach is going to be at D3 or NAI. They might end up leaving and getting a new job, and they might be recruiting you for a D2 or an FCS in a year or two. You don't know. Could very well happen. I see it happen all the time. Number two, people don't realize coaches talk all the time. It doesn't matter the level. It is such a tight-knit community. A lot of these guys know each other. A lot of these coaches that are at the D3 and the NAI level, a lot of them might have played for these coaches at these bigger levels, or maybe these smaller level college coaches played alongside these guys in college. So it's a very tight-knit community between the coaches. I see it all the time where coaches will talk about, "Hey, did you see so-and-so from this school? You guys might want to check them out. There's no way we're going to get them, but you guys might want to look," and vice versa, where a bigger school might say, "You know what? We're just full at this position, but boy, I saw this kid from XYZ high school. He was really good. You guys need to look into him." Happens all the time. So again, you treat everyone the same. You treat everyone great. You stay interested in every school. It's very important. Again, other things I talk about now, it's a little harder with the padded camps because obviously they're going to give you, usually just a practice jersey with a number to wear. So when you're in the number system, it's easy to identify you. But a lot of camps, a lot of the non-pad camps and the more the combine type deals, you want to find a way to step out and be a little bit unique, a little bit different. Wear maybe your high school workout shirt, wear your high school cleats, socks, something that identifies you differently from other kids, that separates. Because believe me, I've been at camps where you might not have a roster right away, but someone will say, "Hey, did you see the kid from Wheaton South with the Wheaton South shorts on? Or did you see the kid with the cool looking gold cleats? Or did you see the kid with the white and blue gloves? He was really good." I'm telling you, if there's something that stands out about you that you have on, it's a good way to kind of separate and pop out to other people when they're looking and evaluating. I think that goes a lot longer of a way than people might realize. It really does. It becomes interesting that the kids sometimes get identified like that. So you need to keep that in mind. And again, it's a great experience. I think kids go into these thinking that they're going to walk away with an offer. I think it's really difficult in a lot of cases to come away with an offer, especially if you're a 2023 and below. Unless you're at a elite high level 2023, you're going to get that experience to get better, to see what it's like competing at a college camp. And if you're in a younger class, to take that and to be able to improve from it and be ready for the next camp. It's all about experience. You're not going to be fantastic at your first camp. And maybe you are. That might be your best experience, might be your first camp. But in a lot of cases, if it's your first camp ever, you're going to kind of fumble and stumble your way. So again, just be open to it, learn. Yes, you're going to screw some things up. You're going to do something wrong. Coach might chew your butt out. Again, we talk about handling your business and how you react when things go wrong. If you slide on a 5-10-5 drill, do you hang your head and just stop? Never, ever stop. Never, ever, ever, ever stop in a drill. Finish the drill. If you slide, don't shake your head. Don't have terrible body language. Pop right back up and finish the drill. That goes a long way at a camp because, look, things aren't always going to go your way. Yes, you are going to get beaten one-on-one. It's inevitable. Everyone does. But it's how you react to that and how you bounce back and handle it is what these guys look for in a camp. I've had kids say, I just didn't think I did really well, but I'll have one of those coaches come over to me and say, you know what? Yeah, he slipped in this drill. I was more impressed at how he recovered from the slip than he was the way he ran the drill. So again, you're always being evaluated. Even your screw ups and your mistakes, you're being evaluated not so much on the screw up, but how you handled things after the screw up. How did you react? Goes a long, long way in these camps. Trust me. And I've been doing this for a while, and I've been fortunate enough to learn from some of the best of them out there. So by all means, enjoy yourself this summer. If you have questions about camps, and obviously if you're watching this, you're on the Edgy Nation, DM me on Twitter. If you're following me on Twitter, on the free board or the premium board, post a question. I will answer. If it's something I don't feel I should answer in public, if it's more one-on-one, I'll hit you with my email. My email is very simple, edgytim@edgytim.com. I've had parents already email me this spring inquiring about camps and what I think about camps and how many camps you should go to. Always happy to answer those questions. So by all means, fire away. Let me know your questions, and hope you find this video helpful. Any other suggestions, I'm always open to it. So just let me know. So have a good summer camp series. Hope to see you out there. And again, do not hesitate when any questions. Okay. Thanks, everybody.